So, does a bigger exhaust mean less back pressure? Not exactly, because the job of the exhaust is to help the engine breathe better along with the intake. If they can both breathe and draw in more air and take more air out of the combustion chamber, the more efficiently that both of them do it, the more efficiently the engine will perform and make more power. Now, if your exhaust does not have enough back pressure, what will end up happening is that once you get that power stroke in the combustion chamber, obviously the exhaust is supposed to take that spent and burnt up oxygen out of there, so that when the intake valve opens, the entire chamber is filled in with fresh oxygen to be burnt again. What happens with a bigger exhaust is that the exhaust is obviously larger, so what's gonna end up happening is that the exhaust is gonna have a low restriction, obviously making it a better airflow for the exhaust spent gases to leave the combustion chamber. So the drawback to that is that it's gonna have less flow because of that large opening. Now, if you have a smaller exhaust compared to that, it's going to be more restrictive, but the flow of air is going to be faster because it's smaller. The velocity of the air is going to be a lot faster compared to the larger exhaust because of the size difference. So the ideal thing is to have an exhaust that works in conjunction with your car and your intake and everything else in it. Get it tuned with that exhaust so that the air that's coming out of the combustion chamber can actually fill that exhaust up. Even if it's a large exhaust, you still have to fill it up and create a higher velocity. That way you get the best of both worlds. You have some back pressure to keep that fuel in the combustion chamber before it leaves, but then you don't have too much back pressure where you're causing a restriction in the flow of air through your engine. This is what's important. Once that exhaust valve opens, which is the fourth stroke, the piston is going to come up and help that air get out of the combustion chamber. Now, what is back pressure? It's the difference between atmospheric pressure in the combustion chamber and in the outside atmospheric air. In the combustion chamber is going to be at a way higher pressure than at the atmospheric pressure that is going to be outside. You can easily save 5-6 times, even more, depending on the engine. So that's what helps evacuate all that spent gas from the combustion chamber. Now, if your exhaust, if this is happening, especially in the high revving engines, is happening insanely quickly. You're talking about 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 RPM. So you can just imagine how fast that exhaust valve is opening and closing. Now, when you light that up, if your exhaust does not have any back pressure, is what people don't understand. They try to eliminate that completely. What's gonna happen is once that valve opens and your piston is going up, it still hasn't completely burned that fuel. So when you open that valve, that air is just gonna be sucked out of there, and then now you have unburnt and inefficient burn in your exhaust, not in your exhaust, in your combustion chamber. So that's what people don't understand. It's not that you have to have an immense back pressure because obviously too much of anything is bad, but you need to have it set up in a way that it works efficiently for your engine in both ways. You're trying to make it better, not just lose this but gain that. That doesn't make any sense. So that little bit of back pressure is going to keep the fuel inside the engine, and that's why back pressure matters, because people try to eliminate it completely, and it doesn't make any sense to eliminate that because it helps keep the fuel in there. I've seen cars with a performance exhaust, or what is considered a performance exhaust for that car, installed, and it makes less power, and you noticeably feel it when you drive the car after that exhaust is installed. Meaning a stock car, I've heard this before, a stock model, whichever car we're talking about, and a car that has a performance exhaust installed, the stock one will beat the performance one with the performance exhaust, because that car is not working efficiently with that exhaust. Not only that, it's not tuned. So you have to have it tuned to that with everything else. And that's the difference why people don't really understand what that means. Thanks for watching the video. If you want, you leave your comment down below if you have any questions or any concerns about the video. And if anything, just keep watching and don't forget to subscribe.